Hey guys, what's going on? Sherman here. I'm just getting ready to modify my new Thermite a little bit. I'm going to take it down to do that, take it apart. And I thought, why not make a video about it? I know a lot of people like seeing the insides of knives, but don't necessarily, or maybe they don't have one. Or maybe they do have one, and they just don't want to bother taking it apart and want to know what it looks like. So, I understand that. And I've been anxious to get inside this and see what it looks like on the inside for a while. It has been confirmed that there is no detent hole on the blade per se, so that you can't de-assist this and have it still work. So that has actually been confirmed by some other people. That was disappointing to find out, but I still want to take this apart, just take a look inside. If you guys want to do the same, here's a few things that I would recommend. Having a magnetic bowl, one like this. Just a simple magnetic bowl to put your screws in so you don't lose them. It's not necessary, I would recommend having something to put your screws in that you take out. And one of these, it is a Husky Torx driver. There's the model number. This is the tool I use. I have two of them. I highly recommend this. Cobalt also makes a really nice Torx bit driver. And those are two that I've seen a lot of people, the majority of people here in the community use. But I've had a lot of questions on what I use in terms of tools. This is all I use. So, it's probably a T6, and they're all marked, and they're double-sided, these little bits. So, I'm going to use a T6. T6 is the most common size for your handle screws, pocket clip screws, and all that kind of stuff. So, let's see. Yeah, it's T6. So, a lot of people, like I mentioned in my unboxing, have said that Kershaw really Loctites these screws, and a lot of people have stripped their screws just trying to change the pocket clip. I did not run across that, and I'm not coming across this right now. No, none of these screws actually have any Loctite on them, and I didn't see any Loctite on the pocket clip screws. So maybe that was just some of the ones coming out of Cabela's. I'm not sure. Some of the first ones sold. I'm really not sure, but I'm just saying I haven't had a problem. I'm going to give you guys a quick tip. It's a lot easier to, it's a lot easier to take your knife apart if the blade is open and in the locked position. Oh, there's the, okay, that's actually fascinating. That's, the back spacer just fell out, but it's actually aluminum. If you recall my unboxing, I said it looked like FRN because it's too shiny, but that is definitely aluminum. It's not magnetic. So, no, that's actually really fascinating. It is hard anodized aluminum. Okay. I like that. That's actually a plus with me. I like that. I like that it has that extra rigidity. Okay. So that's something I would never have known if I hadn't taken this knife apart and had my backspacer fall out onto my table. Alright guys, so it's confirmed the backspacer of the Thermite is aluminum. Like I said, I like that. There is no pillars inside. Sometimes these backspacers, they will have pillars running through the middle that the screws screw into, but it's actually just holes. The screws run through all the way through the G10 handle scale and screw into the stainless steel frame. So it doesn't actually screw into a barrel inside of here. So a lot of times you can actually take these backspacers out and leave the barrels in, and then it looks like you have standoffs. I believe you can do that with things like even the Spyderco Techno. I think it has barrels inside of the backspacer, so you can actually take the backspacer out if you don't want it. But anyway, as I was getting to my original point, it's easier to take knives apart, especially frame lock knives, if the blade is open in a locked position. Otherwise, as you unscrew that pivot, you're going to have a lot of positive pressure from that bar pushing the blade over, and it's actually going to pop the blade out and pop the handle out. A lot of times you'll have screws fly out of the handle, and you can lose stuff. But with assisted opening knives, it's also a lot better to take the knife apart this way because the spring is not under any tension right now, which I don't think the torsion bar is under any tension even when the blade's closed, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, switch this bit around. It's kind of handy too because this particular bit, it is a T6 and a T9, and T9 is a very common pivot size. Yep, that's a T9. Also, T10 is a very common pivot size. So take that out. I really wish the hardware would have been just regular stainless and not black coated. I think it would have gone with the overall theme of the knife a lot better. And there's the inside, very heavily greased. There's the torsion bar. Kershaw has kind of, they've kind of changed their torsion bars in previous generations, like with the Leak and the Scallion, they were a straight bar, whereas now they're kind of going towards a more curved one. And I've heard of a lot of people's breaking of this design, because I've heard a lot of people's cryo torsion bars, which are shaped just like this, breaking. So I think it's because of that very drastic angle. And the one cryo torsion bar that I had actually broke, and it split right there in the middle, right at that bend. But it's pretty common with these newer Kershaws. But Kershaw's great. You can just tell them your torsion bar broke, and they'll send you a new one, no questions asked. All right. So that's the inside. That's the tiny bronze bushing. Just want to keep this all together. I want to eliminate as many pieces as possible. Very, very small bushings on those. Very kind of surprising, actually. But as you see in the blade, there's the pivot hole, and then there's the hole for the torsion bar. And that's where the detent hole should be, wherever that trail of grime, which is actually just metal dust and debris. Where that trail stops is where the detent hole should be on this knife, but isn't, which is a shame. And you can see that's actually kind of odd, because you can see that's the screw for the lock bar stabilizer, but you can see it's just half in the handle. It's not actually drilled into the handle, it's drilled in the side. It's kind of odd. Never really seen that before, but that's interesting. Seems to be strong, so I guess it's not a fault. See, that's the detent ball. This is the reason why you can't really do your kind of do-it-yourself detent mods with these assisted opening Kershaws, is because the detent ball, which is that, it's a stainless steel, sometimes it's ceramic, ball that is set into the frame. That's what it is. That's a detent ball. A lot of times they're using that's an extremely small detent ball for a knife. Almost non-existent. Almost, it's not even needed, to be honest. I guess they just put it there to apply positive pressure against the blade itself. Not completely sure. But this is why you can't really do a DIY detent mod on these assisted knives, so you can de-assist them. Because the detent ball itself isn't big enough, so it doesn't give enough positive pressure inside the detent hole to cause a lot of resistance. Because that's what's going to make your flippers and knives, just regular thumb stud opening knives, flick open with very little effort. And that is because there's so much force you have to use to break that detent ball out of the detent hole that just the force, energy continues to travel. That is what makes it so smooth. But anyway, that's why you can't really do it with these knives, because the detent ball itself is so small and causes such little resistance inside of a hole that you would make that it would not make a very good manual knife at all. It would have very weak detent, it would not flip, and it would not flick out hardly at all. But so that is a downside. However, the new zero tolerance knives that are coming out this year, the cheap version of the 0560 and 561 is coming out. I forget its model number. And then the cheap version of the 777 is coming out. Here again, I don't know its model number either. But they're copying those designs, and they're basically going to be budget versions of those. They're going to be assisted opening. They're going to have cheaper steel. They're going to be a little bit smaller and have cheaper handle materials, and just overall made a little bit, I'm not going to say lesser quality, because they're not, but they're just made with a lot less attention to detail so that they can sell them at a cheaper price point. I think it's a good idea. But actually, I've heard that they are going to have detent balls and holes for those knives, so you can de-assist them. Like I said, a Kershaw rep has said that, but I can't wait to actually see somebody get it in hand and to prove it. If it does, I might get one of them. I really like the 777. The copy of the 777 that's coming out. It's really nice looking. Of course, I might get the copy of the 0561 too, because they're going to be stainless steel frame locks instead of titanium frame locks. So since ZT can't seem to get the titanium right, you know, I might get the stainless one. Let's look at the tang of the blade. It's marred up pretty bad, which is unusual to see with stainless steel frame locks. But it's marred up from just the steel contacting the steel of the blade and rubbing off some layers and just creating fine metal dust or steel dust. And that's just what that is in the blade all built up. I'm actually going to leave that there. I'm about to work on this knife anyway, and it's gonna get all messy, so I'm just gonna do the work and then clean later. Now, what am I going to be doing, you might ask? Well, I want it to kind of be a surprise, but I will tell you, of course, I am going to do my lock bar stabilizer mod. This is the same size as a 9mm round, and let's see if I can show you guys. I have a few 9mm in here. I'm going to make some, and then, of course, I'm going to be selling them if you guys have any interest in lock bar stabilizers, because I know a few people have gotten these around the same time because they had the same pre-order with Blade HQ. 9mm round, I've already started on this one. And the stock lock bar stabilizer. So it is the same exact size lock bar stabilizer that is on the Cryo, but it actually looks a lot better. Oh, there goes my stop pin. But as you see, it fell out and stuck directly to my magnetic bowl, so that's another great advantage to having that. But anyway, I'm going to do my lock bar stabilizer mod. I thought, like I said, this was FRN, and I was actually going to make a G10 one out of some orange and black layered stock that I have. Is that orange? Yeah, it's orange and black layered. You guys can see. So it's... Actually, I can't. It's not even the same thickness. You can see it's just a little bit off. So, actually, I can't do it. So that's a shame. I really wanted to make a new backspacer. I don't know what thickness this is, to be honest. Let me look. Get my trusty measurer. Okay, so it's 1/4 inch. Looks like it. Or 3/8 inch. Something like that. But so I do need to order some new G10 anyway. But it is nice to know it's aluminum. So now why is that exciting to me? Well, it's just because it's heavier duty than FRN. I just like having that little extra strength in my knife. So that's just me. And I would like to make another scale for this. So here again, I don't think I'm going to be able to... I actually could use this. This is 1/8 inch G10, by the way. I could use this, but I also have some 1/2 inch, or is it? No, I have a 1/4 inch G10. I'm going to use it. I'm going to kind of try to round it off. It's orange. I think it'll look nice. But now the stock scale that's on here, I actually really like. I like the way that they milled out this little design in the peel ply. I think it looks really attractive because I like the way that smooth G10 looks, where you can see the kind of porous pattern on it. And it's kind of funny, somebody had the same idea I had. They said in the comments that this kind of milled design looks like the decals on a Boss 302 Mustang. And I agree. You know, in my video I said it kind of looks like a vinyl they would put on a street racing car, something like that. But he hit the nail on the head. It really does look like a 302 Mustang decal. But so I actually like the stock scale on it. Nothing really bad to say about it. But I do think it is a little thin. I would like to make it a little bit thicker. So like I said, I'm going to kind of try to take some 1/4 inch G10 and round it, make it a little bit more hand filling. Maybe. I'll see how that goes. I'm not the world's best scale maker. So, and I'm going to actually try to heat anodize some of these screws. You know, buff them down to a stainless finish instead of that black. Just because, I mean, look, the pocket clip screws are stainless. Just a raw satin finish, but it's up against the, you know, the stone wash stainless steel. And I don't know, I just wish all the hardware was that same It's that same satin. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I just wanted to open this knife up and show you guys the insides and just talk about it a little bit more. Oh, one more thing I wanted to mention is that I did sharpen it up a little bit, changed the edge geometry a little bit because it was a really steep angle originally. Whoever sharpened this, I'm sorry, but they did a really bad job at it. It still needs work. I didn't spend as much time as I should have sharpening this, reprofiling the edge, but it's a really bad job. So, not thrilled about that. I mean, this, as you saw in my unboxing, this knife couldn't even cut paper. I mean, it's still pretty rough. So it needs a lot more work. It's just somebody really messed up because starting down here, the edge angle is different than it is on the tip and different than it is right in the middle of the blade. So it's almost like they were grinding it and kind of shifted their angle a little bit too much. And it was just a mess. So I hope your guys, or I hope when you guys get one that yours is a little bit sharper than mine or has a better edge geometry to work with at least. But anyway, guys, like I said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Just wanted to take this knife apart, talk about it a little bit more. I know a lot of people are curious about it and what I think. Still testing it out, still carrying it and using it. And, you know, of course, I would wait for my review. If you guys really want to know my opinions on it, I would just wait for my review. Or just buy it yourself and to see what you think. You know, I can say right now, I do recommend it for the price point. It has a lot of features of the knife itself. It has a lot of features that are really nice, that are different from what you would normally see from Kershaw. It is very Rick Hinderer influenced, which is, I think, a good thing. But like I said, I can recommend it for the price. I wouldn't pay any more than what it is, which is about $40. That's kind of on the high end for a budget Kershaw. You know, one of the Chinese made Kershaws. Kind of pushing it, but I do recommend it for what it is. And like I said, I'm still testing it out and getting to know it a little bit more. There are some things I don't like about it, but I will address that all in my review, so I can, like I said, really fully test it. Anyway, guys, hope you all have a great rest of your day. Hope you stay safe, stay sharp, and God bless. Sherman 614.